Okay, Hare Krishna. So we are on verse 3. So to go back, just to give you a brief overview of what we've been doing. So Nectar of Instruction is a book for neophytes. Prabhupada says this in the preface. And why it is, now you can see it for yourself. Where does the book begin? The first verse tells us these are the qualities you should aspire for. Right? Vacho vegam, manasa krodha vegam, jivva vegam, udarupastave. Okay, good. But then Rupa Goswami gives us very practical ways how by which we can develop those qualities. So in the second verse, he tells us what we should avoid. Atyahara priyasascha prajalpo niyamagraha jansangha chalalyam cha. So those six things, they destroy our bhakti. Atyahara, trying to collect too much. Atyahara priyasas, over endeavoring. So those kind of things destroy our bhakti. And then in the next verse, he tells us, the third verse, that what six things help us grow in bhakti? Utsaha nishya dhairyat, tattat karma pravartanat, sangatyage, shato vritti, sadbhir bhakti, prasidhyati. Right? And we talked about in detail. Utsaha nishya dhairyat. So we have to have. So if I'm going from, if I take a cab and I'm driving, or if I'm driving to Virginia from Maryland, so we should have the confidence that I'll reach there because of my intelligence, having faith in intelligence. And then I should be patient enough that I know it's going to take me some time to reach there. And then there should be an enthusiasm associated with it because the final goal is in clear picture to me. I'm going to meet my friends, I'm going to meet my family members, whatever it may be. So that is important in bhakti. And we have to figure out what ways by which we can enhance our utsaha, nishcha, and dhairya. We all will have different ways. Yeah. Because we all are going through ups and downs in bhakti. Some days we are very enthusiastic, some days we are not enthusiastic. So one thing that I do many times is I write down whenever I am happy or when I'm going through something, I'm getting some realization that, oh, here Krishna is helping me here, or I get to do a good chanting someday. So I make a note of it so that when my day is going bad, I can go back and read it and say, okay, it's not like all the days are bad. Some were really good. So that really helps me to have utsaha, nishya, dhairya. So you have to find what works for you. So just find that, but it's important that you have it. So utsaha, nishya, dhairya, and then tattat karma pravartana. Tattat karma pravartana, Prabhupada explains, is one should not be idle but be very enthusiastic about executing the regulatory principles. Neglect of the regulatory principles will destroy devotional service. Now, many times people, what they think is that what Prabhupada gave us is very elementary. Many times people say that. I've heard many people say that to me. However, what they don't realize is Prabhupada has given us a perfect method to move forward in bhakti. He has given us very clear-cut regulative principles to follow. Bhakti, it always surprises me how people, they are very practical in material life. They think out everything. This is my job. After 5 years, I'll be here. I have to do this to get promoted next year. And they are very practical about it. But the moment they come to spiritual life, they become very impractical. They become very emotional. Bhakti is all about love. I will hear from everybody. All love is coming to me. I can hear Krishna's flute. No, that's just not the right path to move forward in bhakti. If you really want to move forward, there are regulative principles. Even Krishna talks about regulative principles in the regulative principles of freedom. And that's which verse is that? Second chapter. The second chapter. I think it's the second chapter, 69th verse. See if I can find that. So Prabhupada translates that as can everybody please mute yourself? If somebody's getting out of the car, it looks like, or something, please mute yourself. So it's 2.64, the second chapter, 64th verse. Prabhupada tells us, and actually it's Krishna speaking. So if you see, this is the verse. Raga dvesha vimuktestu vishayan indriyas charan atma vasher vidhe atma prasadam adi gacchati. A person free from all attachment and aversion and able to control his senses through regulative principles of freedom can obtain the complete mercy of the Lord. Regulative principles are very important. And that's why this book is very important for all of us. Okay, so coming back. So yes, so that's Tat Karma Pravartana, that we should not neglect regulative principles by being very whimsical or emotional. That's not the way to move forward in bhakti. So Prabhupada told us to worship Krishna, right? But somebody may come in, oh no, I worship Devtas. Somebody might, we'll be going on a path and we say, okay, we follow these regulative principles. Somebody will say, oh, why do we need numbers? I'm always chanting the whole day. That's not the way we progress in bhakti. Our mind is very tricky. Don't fall trap to your mind, because your mind will tell you all these things. Oh, I chant all the day. Why do you have to sit down and chant on a mala? You know? Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Satatam Kirtayanto Mam. He's telling us to chant 24 hours. If you can't do 24 hours, at least do some regulated time. Right? So don't be distracted. Don't contaminate the process. Don't fall off the path. We all have taken millions of births to come here. One mistake, you'll be off the path. Don't do that. Be very careful that you're following the regulatory principles in the best possible way according to your capacity and taste, and Krishna will give you that mercy. Right? So this is a very foundational principle of spiritual life, of advancement in spiritual life. Discipline is very powerful, and we all have the ability and also the responsibility to discipline ourselves. There has to be a conscious control of lifestyle. And as I mentioned, I think I mentioned this last night, practice should be regular, regular, attentive, and goal oriented. So keep that in mind. Okay, so that was Tat Karma Pravartana. I think we discussed it. I won't go in detail there. Okay, so that was Tat Karma Pravartana. Right? And then Prabhupada comes and he talks about association of undesirable people. Right? So he's saying Sangha Tyage. So uh, if you remember in the earlier verse, also there was a mention of association, giving up bad association. Now somebody can ask this question, why did Rupa Goswami talk about the same thing in two consecutive verses? Right? Wasn't one time enough? No. Some things have to be re-stressed again and again. They have to be repeated. It's such an important cardinal principle that it needs to be repeated. Right? By associating with the right kind of people, we can strengthen our faith, we can purify our desire, and we can clarify our intelligence. And lack of that can completely have the complete opposite of that. So yeah, and if you know, this is a positive list, but Rupa Goswami is still bringing a negative point here. Avoid bad association. All the other things are positive. Utsaha, Nishya, Dhairya, Tat Karma Pravartana, and Shatovritti. But Sangatyage is only the negative point in this. Why? Because it's very, very important. And the worst part is that we don't even realize we are in a wrong association. So yeah, be very, very careful whom you associate with. And the word association means that when you are in association with somebody, that association should uplift you. And it should be a synergistic, mutual relationship. The other person also should benefit, you should benefit. But then you should see that change in you, that when I hang out with this person, I feel like chanting more, or I feel like reading more, or I just feel more positive. I feel a mode of goodness. Right? So yes, so be very careful. Avoid people who are carriers of material desires. And this is not because you are morally superior, it's not that. But it's necessary for your spiritual health. Right? So be very, very careful. Bhagavad Gita, Krishna also says this in the 13th chapter. When we read that, we'll see Krishna says, Purusha prakrti stohi bhungte prakrti janvuna karanam guna sangasyo sadasa janma yonishu. Yoni janmashu means I'm taking birth again and again because of my association with that material nature. So the quality of the desires in our heart is proportional to our association. So we have to very carefully guard the Bhakti Lata Beej. It's called Beej. It's a when you meet devotees, they give you a seed, and you place that seed in your heart. And when you properly in the proper association and proper guidance, this path you need guidance. We all need guidance. You need guidance for everything, especially for spiritual life. But then you have to be careful that you have to understand that seed needs to be watered properly, has to be protected from weeds and so forth. And then that weed grows into a proper plant, and then the fruit of bhakti, which is prema, for love for Krishna, it manifests. Okay. So yeah, so that's Sangatyaga. So it's very important that we do that. But then also keep in mind, we should not look down upon devotees. It's not that, oh, this person is just useless, always talking about material things. No, no, don't look down upon devotees. Respect everybody. I'm trying to heal myself. And whatever is favorable for my healing, I will do that. So be careful not to be disrespectful to anybody. And as I was saying, your association can be on on three platforms basically. It can be devotional association that will help you grow. Okay. Non-devotional also can be there, and then there can be anti-devotional. Okay? So non-devotional is okay. Like you're hanging out with people who are talking about material things, not necessarily, you know, criticizing devotees or bhakti. They're just talking about random. But then anti-devotional services, there are anti-devotional people who want to pull you away from bhakti. So you have to reject them completely. So make a very close circle of devotees. So, and Prabhupada had this amazing power that he would never get affected by anybody, but he could turn everybody to Krishna. But we don't have that. Don't think we all are as powerful as Prabhupada. We're nowhere close. We should have a very healthy spiritual mindset, protect ourselves so that we don't get affected. And all that begins from a very strong morning program, a very practical way to strengthen your bhakti, to have a healthy spiritual mindset, is to start with a very good morning program, right? And I'll talk about a bit more. It comes, I think, in the next Sachatovritti also. But yeah, so make a very strong morning program, right? So that you are strengthened. You have made a barrier against all the negativity that will be coming towards you. Okay, so yeah. Then comes Shatovritti. Any thoughts been Shato in this Sangatyage before we jump on to Shatovritti? Oh, okay, let's move forward. Shatovritti.
Oh, yeah, only one thought.
Yes, bro.
Yeah, but yeah, I think one important point you made is like avoiding, I mean, associating only with people who uplift. That may not always be possible, you know.
Mhm,
It's kind of hard to find like that in the real world. So
mhm.
just one thought there, Prabhuji.
Yes. When I said association, you might be talking to many people, but it's not necessary that you'll be associating with them. Association only happens when you take something from them. You can hang out with your friends. Like we all go to work, right? We go to work, we go out in the real world, we go shopping, we meet friends, we meet colleagues at work. Sometimes you might also have to go out for a lunch or two with your colleagues. But it only becomes association when you start taking something from them, when they start influencing you, then it becomes association. Was that helpful, bro?
Yeah, Prabhuji. Thank you for clarification. Thank you.
Yeah. And as I was saying, a strong morning program will give you the strength to hang out with materialistic people, but not be affected by that. And the earlier part we talked about, which is following the regulatory principles, following the path that Prabhupada has shown us very carefully every day without fail. That will give you the strength that wherever you may go, you will not be affected by others. Yeah, so that's it. Okay, Shatovritti. So now Prabhupada defines Shatovritti as following in the footsteps of previous acharyas who expertly filled every moment of time with Krishna conscious activities. See, so Shatovritti, what is Prabhupada defining Shatovritti as? It's people who are living a very regulated life. They are not leaving their day to chance, to their mind. They have made a very clear plan. There is this, who's that? There's an author. His name is Augmandino. You can read. He wrote a book. What is the name of that book? But more importantly, what he said in the book was there was this very wonderful phrase that he quotes. He says, "Never greet the dawn without a map." So what he means is that never start your day without a map, without clearly knowing what you're going to do. You should have it at night. You should know where your chanting beads are, where your books are. What are you going to do the moment you wake up? If you don't do that, your mind will pull you in any direction it wants. Very careful. Okay, I'm going to wake up in the morning, go to clean up and start chanting. And only when I finish chanting will I do anything else. It might not be easy in the beginning, but when your mind keeps sees that you keep doing it, it becomes fixed in it and it also helps you with that. So yes, so that Prabhupada is very clear in what the Shratavritti mean. Who are those people who have been following that path very clearly? Right? And Prabhupada being an acharya, he can make sometimes you like, for example, Prabhupada's spiritual master would always do 64 rounds of chanting, but Prabhupada made it 16 because he knew that the distracted disciples that he had in America, they will never be able to do 64 rounds. They're very, very distracted. So he had to make some changes. But the principle was still the same. Satatam Smratyo Vishnu. Always remembering Krishna. So 16 rounds. But then, yeah, so then Prabhupada started ashrams, you know. So he knew how to bridge the gap between ideal and real, and he brought all of them together. So that's the beauty of an acharya. I cannot do it. We cannot do it. We're not acharya. We are just neophytes. But an acharya can do that because he has the spiritual power. Right? So yes, Shatovritti following such people, and Prabhupada is one example. Right. So and when you follow the path shown by such people who are living a very regulated life, we also tend to bridge the gap between real and ideal. Like what Prabhupada did, we can also do that. Like in our lives, Prabhupada did it for billions of others, but we can do it in our lives. If your reality is very different from what you are presenting, there'll always be trouble in your heart. If you are putting up multiple masks, you'll always be confused. What we are trying to do in bhakti is bridge that gap. And for that bridging of the gap, we need a guide, a lighthouse. You see a lighthouse, ships go towards a lighthouse. So we need that. So Shatovritti is like that. Or more like a pole star, right? Boatmen use pole star. So we look to the spiritual master, we look to Prabhupada, and then we see that where are we being dualistic? And we try to change that in our lives. But we are not imitating them, we are following them. The following means anusaharana. You are following. And imitation means anukarana, that you're just doing it but not following it. Right? So we follow, not imitate. Just like Lord Shiva's devotees, they take illicit things, marijuana, whatnot. People have illicit relationships thinking that Krishna did Ras Leela. Right? So, but that's not what Prabhupada has given us. That's a very, very, as Prabhupada called it, royal road to hell. It's a royal road to hell. It will take us there. Okay. So don't follow that path. Just 1 second. Yes, so that's the royal road to hell. Okay. So there was once there was this near a there were a lot of kids playing it was a case in India. What happened that there were a lot of kids that were playing in the street, and there was a kind of an expensive car there, so they broke the windshield of that car. And when the owner came out, he knew that the children are from devotees in the temple, and he came to the temple and started abusing angrily, right? So a devotee came, and a devotee was also about to lose his cool, but then he thought what his spiritual master would do in such a situation. And then the devotee calmly acknowledged the problem. And then he offered to repair his car and repair his car. And so I'm just giving an example that how you can change your behavior by questioning this. Oh, what has Prabhupada said about this? How do we behave in this situation? What does my spiritual master do in this situation? Right? So yes. And then so I was mentioning about having a morning program, right? So have a very clear-cut morning program, right? So that makes sure that you are doing Shatovritti. Okay. So first of all, calm your mind, chanting. Okay. Then you have to have some sense of expression of your gratitude. That's why we do Mangal Aarti in the temple. That's a sense of gratitude. We are thanking Krishna. We are thanking our Guru there. Study something positive. Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam. Just 10 minutes is enough, but we read it carefully. Then review your goals. What are your goals of this life? Right? So we all have, you can define your goals in 5 sections very easily. There is self-care, there is a spiritual practice, right? There is meeting the needs of the family. Then there are needs of your occupation, and then lastly there is service to the society. We all are, social animals. We cannot live without a society. So just look at these 5 things: your self-care, your spiritual life, your family life, your needs of your family, needs of your job, and your service to society, and align all these 5 areas into how you can bring them into bhakti, and or more importantly, how can you do them without being dualistic. So that way, your life will become good, right? So those are some things you can do. Okay, so that was Shato Vritti. There's one thing that I like Prabhupada said in here. Where was that? Oh, here, yes. Uh, Devotional service is so pure and perfect that once having begun, one is forcibly dragged to the ultimate success. So this is towards the end of that purport. Prabhupada is saying. And I really love this, Prabhupada is motivating us to be steady on the path, because he knows it's very easy to lose motivation in the process, right? So if we don't, especially when we don't see success as clearly as we expected it to be, right? So here it is important to understand at the end of the day, Krishna's grace will come for sure, 100%. But when he wants it, it's not going to come when I want it, right? He understands best. When I say he, Krishna understands best when we need it and when will we utilize it to the best of our capacity. Prabhupada, a lifetime in preparation. And in short 11 years, Prabhupada made Hare Krishna a household name all over the world. That's how Krishna reciprocates. Prabhupada could have given up. And if for that, we wouldn't have been here. So, yes, so this is a very motivational thing Prabhupada is saying here. So, devotional service, Prabhupada is saying devotional service is pure and perfect, right? So, it naturally purifies our heart, even if the practitioner is not perfect. And Prabhupada is saying, once having begun, right? So just by beginning on this path, right? Krishna says this in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Nehabi karmo nasosti prattavayo na vidyate swalpam apyasya dharmasya trato mahato bhayat. Swalpam, even little bit of bhakti can get rid of all the fears that we are getting from this material world. Okay. And then Krishna also says, I reciprocate. Ananyas chintayanto mam ye jana parivipashate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamiham. This is the 9th chapter, verse number 22. It says, Yogakshema Bahamiham. I carry what you lack and I preserve what you have. Right? And then Prabhupada is saying, we are forcibly dragged to ultimate success. This is the most encouraging part. Krishna never leaves a sincere soul alone. Even if a devotee falls down, he forgets it, deviates, Krishna pulls them back. Right? Sometimes through gentle nudges, sometimes through dramatic life changes. Krishna forcibly drags us back. Krishna intervenes in our life. Right? Krishna makes arrangements. The moment we show Krishna a little bit of sincerity and consistency, Krishna intervenes in our life. This is his causeless mercy. Right? Once there was this, there were these two Matajis. They're from Russia, and it's a true story. So I'll forward you. So they once boarded a plane, okay, and they were going somewhere. They boarded a plane, and they sat in the seat. So there was 3 seats. So two Matajis, and there was somebody third person, right? So they were sitting, and then towards the third person it looked pretty unfriendly because he's seeing devotees, all that kanti mala and then sari and the tilak and whatnot. So he's looking at them very unfriendly, right? So what the devotees do when they get on the plane, they take out their prasadam. Okay, so they take up those plastic bags full of prasadam and they start eating it. And then the person who was nearby them, they offered it to him. Do you want some? And he became angry. He said, "Don't do this." You know. Uh, and then the stewardess comes and she says, "Oh, she was distributing food." And she said, and then that man who was sitting with these Matajis, he said, "I'm a vegetarian." He told the stewardess. So then these Matajis again turned, "Oh, you are a vegetarian. We have vegetarian food. You want to eat it, right?" So he again became angry. No, no, don't do that. I don't want your food, right? So they started eating prasadam again, right? So And then, but those, as devotees are always very merciful, the Mataji again brought up, hey, see, we have this also. You can try this. This is homemade food. At this time, the man really he lost it. He said, "Oh my God, why is this happening to me again and again, again and again?" Then he said, I know you guys. You are." He actually knew that devotee who was sitting with him. He said, "I know you. This is your name, right?" So, uh, and he said, "Oh, how do you know us?" He says, "You know." And then he said that I was a devotee, and then he's told his story. I'll cut short it. He said, I was a devotee, but then I left devotee. But now devotees are always following me somewhere or the other. I see them. Yeah. And they always come and connect with me. The moment I saw you getting on the plane, I knew you will come and sit with me because Krishna is never going to leave. And he said, I was in that I was on that city to attend a funeral. I think it was somewhere in Russia. So he said there was all wheat. There was nothing to eat for me. So for the last 2 days, I've been only eating tomatoes and cucumbers, and I'm so hungry, right? So then they eat prasadam. But what I wanted to stress on this, Krishna never leaves his devotees. Never, never. He never leaves his devotees. Wherever you may go, you might throw every picture of Krishna out of your house. You might give up on Krishna, but Krishna will never give up on you. He will wait for you. He will intervene in your life. He will send devotees. He will send prasadam. He'll send kirtan. You might go somewhere and in the remotest part of the world, and you will see devotees doing kirtan on the street there. So Krishna never leaves you. So you will be forcibly dragged to ultimate success. So be assured of that. Okay, this wraps up our third verse. Any thoughts, comments here before we go to the fourth verse?
Rohit, just one question.
Yes, true.
Uh, I I heard like the definition of yoga kshemam vaham mayam is basically Krishna takes care of the yoga kshem, as in like your yoga should be good. Yoga isn't like your bhakti. But beyond that, I don't know like if that definition can be extended to non devotional things.
What do you mean by non-devotional things?
Like as in like taking care of the non-materialistic, not like non-spiritual things, basically. Like maybe your job, whatever, right? Materialistic things.
Why? No, Krishna will take care of your job also if you're serious, Prabhu. If you're seriously
Okay.
doing bhakti, Krishna takes care of your job also. Might not be in the way you want it to be taken care of, but he'll take care of you for everything, Prabhu.
So,
That's what I was referring to, right, Prabhu? The moment we are dualistic, that this part of my life is for Krishna, this part is not for Krishna. If you don't let him come into your life, how is he going to make changes in there? You have to give him permission. He's very cautious because we all have free will. He doesn't interfere. But if you give him permission, he'll come and interfere with every single aspect of your life. But you have to give permission. Yes,
okay,
Prabhu. You're
Prabhuji,
saying
could you
something. You're
always too
saying
tied up in that yoga kshemam thing, maybe, Prabhuji? Okay, that's okay.
it's not just for devotion. No, no,
Okay.
no. Krishna is helping everybody. You imagine. Just look at this. Winters come. Every squirrel gets a new fur, a thick fur for herself. That's so that she does not die in the winters. They have so much fruit. No animal ever dies out of hunger. You might put a bird feeder in your garden, and you might then go away for a whole summer to India or somewhere, and you'll come back and see that the squirrels, the birds, they all are still alive. They don't die. Krishna is taking care of everybody. It's just a myth to think that Krishna is not taking care of you. You have to just let him into your life. That's the important part. And you let him by showing him. How do you show your enthusiasm? You show your enthusiasm to Krishna by being consistent, being sincere. You do it every single day, despite whatever is happening in your life. Then Krishna comes, oh my God, this guy is my devotee. I'll take care of him. Yes, somebody else was saying something.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji. So I was saying thank you so much. It was very encouraging past time you shared between Mataji and Prabhuji. So
Yeah.
able to correlate more and it's a very encouraging all overall.
Yeah, I'll post it I think on Classroom. It's a full episode. You can read it. I found it on Facebook. Somebody that Mataji had posted. It's a more detailed story. You'll really enjoy it. I'll post it on the group also. I just cut it short to give you the essence. Thank you. Okay, if nothing else, we will move on to Gandharvika. Yes,
I
please.
have one question. You mentioned something about royal road to hell. What was that? Could you say that again?
What was I speaking about? Was I speaking about?
Prabhuji, it was about, I think, related to illicit sex. That people,
No, it was
Oh, no,
about we
it was.
follow the Anusaran and Anukaran
Okay,
and
yes, yes. So
then
following the regulative principles. Prabhupada is saying neglect of the regulative principles will destroy devotional service. Don't try to pretend to follow regulative principles. Follow them sincerely to the best of your capacity. That's what it is. And because many people do that, they pretend that they're doing devotional service, but on the other hand, they have some ulterior motives, or they're just not interested in it. Don't do that. That will for sure bring you down. That was the royal road to hell. Now that I remember, that's what I mentioned. And it's a statement by Prabhupada somewhere. I know in one of his books he mentions that.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, so yeah, I think Jay rightly pointed out, it's not, you should not imitate, we should follow the spiritual master and Prabhupada to whatever extent we can. We can never become Prabhupada. We can never be on that level. Or I'm not saying we can, but right now for us, Prabhupada is the gold standard for us. So we just look up to him. So we just try to follow him, not imitate. If you try to imitate, try to pretend, put a nice tilak, nice dhoti or a sari, and you don't change your heart, you can come back again. Billions of lifetime, nothing will happen. Nothing is going to make any difference. Even in the where did I read that? There's a verse in the Chaitanya Charitamrita where that is said that if you don't do that, then you can do it for billions of years and you'll still never get bhakti. I forgot the exact word. Comes in the Madhya Leela. Okay.
So I'm sorry. So pretending to follow the four regulative principles is like you eat meat one day and not eat the other another day, something like that, or you don't
Well, see,
eat.
when I say pretend means down deep in your heart, you have no desire to change yourself. Right?
But
That's
if you're
what.
already following, that means you're not eating meat. Period. That's you cannot be gray about
Yes.
it.
Yeah, so that's sincerity, right? So you're sincere that you want to follow the four regulative principles. But as I was saying, not every person comes to the temple for devotional to be a devotee. People have ulterior motives. I have seen people coming to temples to, look for a proper spouse for themselves. They come for all nonsense. Some people come to expand their business. They say, "Oh my God, so many people in one place. I'm a real estate agent or this business or that. Let me spread that." That itself is pretension. That you're coming to the temple and pretending yourself to be a devotee, but you have ulterior motives in your heart. So cleaning your heart is what I meant by pretending. You don't have a clean heart.
But I've seen some people, like devotees, who really have hard time quitting their coffee or tea or whatever, some chemical balance that they need from the substances.
Mm-hmm.
So in that case, it's not like
Well,
pretending.
I wouldn't call that pretending if they are very sincerely trying to give that up. That's not pretension. Krishna accepts that. Right? He says, Api chet sudaracharo bhajante vamananya bhak sadhureva samantavyo samavivasito isa. This comes 9th chapter, verse number 32, I think. Krishna, what he's saying is that even if somebody is fallen down, he's a sadhu. He's my devotee. Krishna has no problem with that. But the condition is that you're sincerely trying to give it up. And I'll show you this verse. I'm not sure if I've shown you all this verse, but this is one of my favorite verse. I might have already shown you. I speak of that quite often. It comes in the 11th canto, chapter number 20. This is Krishna speaking to Uddhava, and verse number 27 and 28. Let me show you this verse. This is one of my favorite verses. So what Krishna is saying, this is Krishna speaking to Uddhava. He's saying, having awakened faith in the narration of my glories, being disgusted with all material activities, knowing that all sense gratification leads. My voice is echoing. Can you please mute yourself? Whoever is that? Please. Okay. Yes. But so he's saying, being disgusted with all material activities, knowing that all sense gratification leads to misery, but still being unable to renounce all sense enjoyment. My devotee should remain happy and worship me with great faith and conviction. Even though he sometimes engaged in sense enjoyment, my devotee knows that all sense gratification leads to a miserable result, and he sincerely repents his such activities. So the word sincerely is here, and Prabhupada, and the other word being used here is conviction. As long as you are doing whatever you have been told to do with sincerity and conviction, we might still fall down, but Krishna does not consider that as a fall down. He says, my devotee. He calls us my devotee. So we are Krishna's, if we are following it sincerely and consistently. Hope this was convincing enough, Matri, for you. 11, 20, 27, and 28. Okay. So let's get back to our verse.
Prabhuji, that was a very, very amazing thing in a shloka you said. Can you post it somewhere?
I'll post it in the group for you, Prabhu. Yes, it's, or yeah. And you can also write down 11, 20, 27, 28, but I'll post it in the group also. I'll remember to do that. Yeah, we should all have collection of verses from Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, or whichever scripture it may be, that motivates again, going back to what I was saying, writing down things so that you can use them when you need motivation. Okay. Gandharvika, was that okay for you? Did that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Verse 4. Okay. So now, just as I was showing you the progression, Krishna, what you should aspire for, verse number 1. What you do not do, verse number 2. What you should do, verse number 3. And how you should do it, verse number 4. Now, this is about devotees here. So it's dadati prati grinati, guhyam akhyati prichhati, bhungte bhojate chaiva, sadvidham priti lakshanam. So priti means love, lakshana means identity. So symptoms. So what are the symptoms of having a loving relationship with devotees? These are the 6 things. Offering gifts in charity, accepting charitable gifts, revealing one's mind in confidence, inquiring confidentially, accepting prasad, and offering prasad are the 6 symptoms of love shared by one devotee and another. So this is a very good verse. 6 things. How to perform devotional service in the association of other devotees. So so here Prabhupada is giving, he's right on coming, Guhya Makhyati. An experienced devotee explains, and an inexperienced devotee learns from. This is Guhya Makhyati Prichhati, confidentially. Confidentiality is very important. If somebody comes and opens their heart to you, you shouldn't go and start talking about that person to somebody else. It's very important that it should be a heartfelt connection. It should be confidential, important. Okay. So yes, 6 symptoms of love shared by devotees. So the association we have talked about, it has come twice in the last 2 verses. That is being elaborated in this verse. What should be the effect of this association? Even before we learn to associate with Krishna, we have to learn how to associate with his devotees. You cannot hurt devotees and expect that Krishna will love you. That is why this verse is of great importance. The whole stress of this verse can be summed up in word, belongingness. Right? How to create belongingness with devotees such that they consider us as their own. How can you have that kind of loving relationship? Despite all the problems we have. We human beings are creatures full of flaws. Despite them, can I love somebody? Can I belong to somebody? Or somebody can belong to me? Can we have that deep relationship? So, once again, giving association means when you lend your consciousness to someone, when you influence their thoughts, willing, and feeling. Right? As I was mentioning to that discussion we were having earlier, that you might stick around with anybody, but if they're not influencing your thoughts, that's not association. Don't worry about it. Only when somebody starts influencing your thoughts, you should think of that as an association. They will start affecting your decision making. They'll start affecting your words, your actions. So it's an important dynamic. So our growth depends on how well we understand this dynamic. When we do these 6 things, inevitably we participate in developing a loving bond with the other person. So to advance in bhakti, first stage was to try and regulate our lives and come to the mode of goodness, control senses, do's and don'ts. That was the last 3 verses. And then elaborating upon association that will help, that will further push you on bhakti. In Kali Yuga, we all have, we don't have a lot of good, we have good relatives, but many times we have relatives who are always trying to pull us away from bhakti, right? So, and especially because Kali Yuga is a age of quarrel and hypocrisy, right? So it flourishes on miscommunication, it flourishes on disagreements, it flourishes on, and it pushes us to be dishonest to each other, to be hypocritical, and it creates an environment of faithlessness. Therefore, when you come to bhakti, when you associate with devotees, good devotees, right, you have to be very intelligent enough to identify, okay, I want to associate with this person. And when you do that, you, in one sense, you're leaving behind all the hypocrisy, the dishonesty, that faithlessness that this world is giving it to us. And what happens? Because second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna talks about this. Second chapter, verse number 62. Dhyayato vishayan pumsam sangas teshu upjayate sangas sanjayate kaman kamat krodho abhijayate. That when your consciousness becomes affected by something, that sangha, that then you start associating, that becomes you're associating with them, right? Then lust generates in our heart, that we want to do what that other person is doing, and that can be in a very negative sense. That person might pull you in a completely wrong direction. I was telling my son today that when I was in school, there was a friend of mine who was very good in maths, and he would push me to come to watch a movie with him just a day before the exam, because he never would study the day before. He had already done everything, but I was a last minute kind of guy. So he would try to pull me away from it. I said, don't worry, you'll pass. Let's go watch a movie, it'll help you relax. So you have to be very careful. Don't do that. Okay. So receiving gifts, let's see that now. Whatever gift you get, so that's the one thing, right? Receiving gifts and giving gifts, that's one thing. So receiving gift means when you receive something, you should appreciate it wholeheartedly, because it's not the gift that's important, it's the feeling behind it that's important. Right? You will get touched. Sometimes devotees, there was last weekend, there was this devotee, Mataji, she cooked something and she brought for me. I never asked for her, and she just thought of me and she cooked something, and I was very, very happy. I called her, but I couldn't get through because of some reasons. But I was very happy. It just made me so happy. It just made me feel very happy that, oh, somebody thought of me. So the feeling was very important. Obviously, what she cooked was amazing, but the feeling was also very important. So yes, receiving gifts in the right attitude. Right? Don't be always expecting gifts. Oh, where is my gift? Why is this person not giving me gifts? Don't do that. Be content, but when somebody gives it, take it in the right feeling. Yes, Jhulan Yatra.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you so
Hare
much for
Krishna.
the I sometimes feel like some devotee friends, they just keep giving you some presents every single time. So how do you avoid a situation like that?
Well, see, depends. As I said, the feeling is important. If the devotee is really appreciating you, appreciates your association, or just loves you for no reason, devotees are very amazing. Always respect that feeling. Sometimes you can also give that gift away to somebody else. Prabhupada used to do that. Prabhupada used to get so many costly gifts, and devotees would see that. One day, for example, Prabhupada got this amazing, very costly Rolex watch one time. I think it had diamonds embedded in it. Somebody saw it, Prabhupada wearing it, and then 2 days later, their devotee was wearing it. One of his disciples was wearing it. So Prabhupada would give it away. So you have to balance it. Obviously, if the devotee is giving you every day, then it might be something of a concern. But if they're giving you, let's say, once a month, they went to India, they bought something for you, appreciate the feeling. And you can also give them something in return sometimes, if you have that capacity. But you can also give it away to other devotees. That's one thing that Prabhupada used to do.
Okay.
However, sometimes your spiritual master will give you something. Don't give that away. That's prasad. That's his mercy. And that's not like he's not on your level or not on our level. When your spiritual master gives, you very carefully protect those things, because that's something very special. We should be very reverential when we get something from the spiritual master or from the deity. Okay. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. So yes. Okay. So that was receiving and giving gifts. we appreciate wholeheartedly, and the feeling is important. Then the important phrase here is guhyam akhyatya prachyati. So guhyam means confidential, and akhyatya prachyati means discussing. Right? When you when we not you when we clarify our doubts with somebody, that person could be senior to us, might be, or even might be your peer, but might be advanced. No problem. Prabhupada's had so many, all of the Prabhupada disciples, when you will see when they interact with each other, some devotees have respect for like seniors. Like for example, His Holiness Jai Pataka Swami Maharaj. I've seen many of his god brothers appreciate him, because of what he has done for Prabhupada, even though they all are god brothers, right? So it creates a feeling of belongingness, as I was talking about. So, uh, so we have to be aware whether we are elevating someone's consciousness or not, and depending on that, we can define that. Okay, can we open our heart to that person or not? So, what are the cautions that you have to take care in Guhyam being confidential? Uh, don't I think I hinted upon it. Don't go around speaking that what the devotee has told you to others. Maintain that confidentiality. No prajalpa, no gossiping about that devotee to others, no emotional blackmailing. No, don't never do that. Krishna hates that. Krishna never appreciates that. In a broader sense, if you hurt a devotee, Krishna will not appreciate it. Let me give you that in it's like a writing in stone. Krishna never appreciates that. So if someone has opened their heart to you, maintain that confidentiality. Right? So yeah, be careful. In this world, everybody is looking for love. Right? When something happens, right, in a relationship, couple, spouse, husband, wife, they might say, oh, I don't feel love in this relationship. Right? So, but then you have to understand that feeling of love is not necessarily going to come right in the beginning for all of us. So you have to be conscious. That's why being conscious in that moment is very important. Don't think that, oh, I'm not feeling love for devotees. There's no love. Oh, these people are nonsense. I don't feel any love. No. In your neophyte stage, love is not going to come. So love is not so cheap. Right? Love is actually the end result. Right? So, but before that end result, you have to learn to develop a relationship. Who am I? Who is Krishna? So that kind of relationship with Krishna. And then following a path, principles that help me come to that understanding. So, unfortunately, nowadays, people say, "Oh, relationships they're meant to be on love." That's not necessary. Not all relationships are meant to be on love. And not every husband and wife they fall in love before marriage. Not necessarily. But then, if for example, in India, I think many of us are from India. So, but in India, a long time ago, there would be child marriages. They banned it. But then, the purpose behind marrying young was not that they wanted them to have some relationships, like bodily relationship at a young age. No, that was not the goal there. It was just so that right from that early age, they could understand that, okay, this person is meant to be my husband or my wife, and they become dutiful to each other. And then eventually they start liking each other, and then they accept them as they are. Right? So learn to reciprocate with devotees in a guhyam, in a confidential way. No prajalpa, no emotional blackmailing, and that will eventually help us bring out that feeling of love between devotees. So that's guhyam akhyati prichit. That's very important. So I thought I had a slide. I just wanted to show you that slide which I had. Give me 1 second. I forgot about that. This is verse number 4. And I'll show, it'll help you understand better. I just had some diagram in that slide. I want to quickly show that before I jump further on. So yes, that's Guhyam Akhyati Prichati, being very opening up in a confidential way with devotees. Open up. There it is. There it is. Sorry, taking a bit longer than what I thought it should. This is the slide. I'll share my screen. Okay. So this is one slide. So how ISKCON is fulfilling all those principles. So there are verses that Prabhupada is quoting in there that help us understand who we are, what is our true relationship with Krishna, and so forth. And then the way the verse is, Dadati prati ghrnati, bhuyamakhyati prichati, bhunkte bhojate chaiva. So bhunkte bhojate chaiva is also feeding into confidentially opening our heart to somebody. And the purpose of giving and receiving gifts is also to open our hearts to a devotee. That's the purpose here. Okay. And how does ISKCON do that? So see, this is something you have to understand. Dadati prati ghrnati. How do we do? How do members dadati give? They donate to the temples. And prati ghrnati, what do they get in return? They get books, magazines, prashadam, and so forth. Right? Then devotees invite each other to house and then they honor prashadam. Okay? So that's bhojate. And then bhukte is to honor prashadam. And then how do devotees do that on a large scale? We hold Krishna festivals. Janmashtami comes, thousands of people come and eat prashadam.
Don't worry now. Packing clothes, but you and me going.
Okay, so yes, so they hold Krishna festivals. So we feed people. And then devotees inquire about performing devotional service. And then devotees explain that's Guhya Makhyati Prichyati. So all the principles that Prabhupada has established in ISKCON, they all work on this principle. Dadati Prati Ghrnati, Bhunkte Bhojate Chaiva, and all feeding into Guhya Makhyati Prichyati. This was a slide I wanted to show you. Okay, let's go back to our chapters here. Okay, any thoughts before I move on further? This? No? Okay. So now, some very practical principles to govern healthy relationships. Right? When you do that Guhya Makhyati Prichyati, what things that we all have to take care of? One thing, trust. As I mentioned this again and again, right? By understanding somebody, the trust is built. Trust is also built by respect. If you break down the word respect, it's respect, right? The word is respect is a part of inspect also. So when we really look at something and bring Krishna into everything, bring divinity into everything, then the relationship becomes stronger, right? So that's the first thing, principle to govern healthy relationships with devotees. Accept, okay? Accept means accept the needs and values of others. Celebrate diversity of other persons. ISKCON is an international organization. We have people who are born in Brazil, people born in India, people born in Afghanistan, people born in Russia. All devotees coming and following what Prabhupada has given us. Right? We are happy together. Not because we like each other, or it's not like because, everybody has to be exactly the same. No. It flourishes in diversity because we all are following the same principle, what Prabhupada has given us. Right? Guhya Makhyati Prichyati. We are respectful of each other, and we are, sharing prasadam with them, and taking prasadam with them, sharing gifts. So there's this relationship that Prabhupada has created in this. So you have to accept the values and needs of others. Right? Honesty is another important value that makes healthy relationships. If you are dualistic, if you're not honest with devotees, they're never going to have faith on you, right? So that's also very important. Appreciate others, encourage them. Every single person in this world is going around with a so-called necklace around their neck, which says, I need appreciation. Just see everybody like that. Everybody needs appreciation in this world. So if you see somebody doing something very tiny, just go and tell them a good thing. Hey, I really like the way you did this. I appreciate this. Just say that. Encourage devotees. Everybody's looking for that. We are also looking for that. All of us, right? Learn to forgive others. That's another important principle. Okay? Otherwise, what happens if you don't do that? If you don't learn to forgive, it becomes like a knot in your heart. It doesn't go away, and it becomes stinky. Our heart becomes stinky. Just forgive and forget. Move forward. Obviously, forgiveness doesn't mean that you let people come and do wrong to you every other time. No, that doesn't mean. Forgiveness means you are letting go of any hatred or grudges you have for the past, but you are careful for the future. That's what forgiveness means. I just want to clarify that. Okay, yeah, so those are some things, right? Uh, so, so how to maintain eagerness in relationship, right? Material in the material world, when we become too familiar with somebody, it breeds contempt, right? As they say, familiarity breeds contempt. But in spiritual life, that same familiarity can breed love. More you get to know about the spiritual quality of others, more we fall in love with that other person. Like Krishna, right? You can read the Bhagavatam. There are so many places where Krishna's description is there. When Brahma in the 10th canto, 14th chapter starts speaking, he's saying, "Oh, I see this boy, and he's blue colored, and he's got this gunja earrings, and he's got a yogurt and curd in one hand. He's got the bugle in his in the, tucked into his dhoti. And then when the Brahmin's wife see him, Krishna, they see, oh, Krishna is standing in the forest. He has his one hand on the shoulder of his friend. So it's just you can fall in love with Krishna just by thinking about him, right? About his qualities, right? Okay. So that's I just wanted to stress a lot on Guhyam Akhyati Prichiti and that kind of just when we keep confidentiality, respect in the relationship, and we start focusing on somebody's spiritual qualities, that Guhyam Akhyati Prichiti becomes very strong. Okay. So then Prabhupada talks about Bhukte Bhojate Chaiva. So it's a when you invite a devotee at your house and you feed them prasadam and you are very respectful in that, that also opens up the heart of other devotees. So that's also one way, by offering prasadam and taking prasadam. Okay. So bhunkte bhojate chaiva.
So, Prabhu, you were talking about forgiving people.
Mhm.
So, like I had incidents in school where we like some of my friends were like fighting with each other, and I mean me and actually it was me and one of my other friends. We were fighting with each other, and then they were like being really hard on themselves for what they did. And then I forgave them, but then they kept blaming themselves. So how could I like handle that?
Well, you can't do anything about that. Every
I
living
mean, yeah, I
entity.
know I can't do anything about
Yeah.
that, but like I just felt really bad for like because they were blaming themselves, and I was like,
Mm.
well, I
Well,
mean, it's just a fight. I forgave them, but like, you know.
yeah, so probably you can be in a more closer relationship, and just not expressing by words, but expressing by your friendliness, that they could understand, oh, this person has actually forgiven me and it was not that big a deal. Probably you can hang out more with them, or you can bring some gifts for them, just so that they know that what they did not affect you in any way. That's it. But then at the end of the day, you can't do much, because every living entity is an individual in themselves. They have to learn how to handle situations also, because everybody is going to have these situations in their life where, and what happens is when you become overly guilty, that also is not a good thing. It also pushes you away, right? As you're saying, that friend is not, is thinking that, oh my God, I've done something wrong. It's not. So everybody does wrong. So it's a change in mindset that they have to go through, and you can help them in by being considerate about, being about not necessarily expressing in words, but in your actions, that whatever happened, you have put all that back. You're not worried about it. Did that help you? No. Okay.
Prabhuji, one thing.
Yes,
Uh,
bro.
from what Mataji asked, right, about like somebody else because feeling something crazy, because of something, either you did or they just kind of feel guilty on something.
Hmm.
What about the karma theory? Like, is like karma the person who's feeling guilty? Uh, do they have like some kind of a karmic reaction on the other person because of the other person? Somebody's feeling guilty, right?
Oh, you mean that if they are not being able to come over the the guilt that they did something wrong,
Yeah,
will
guilt or
will be
whatever that may be, right? Yeah, I mean something because of someone, somebody else felt something not good in their life, right? Maybe they are feeling guilty or whatever that is, right?
Hmm.
So the other perpetrator, so-called perpetrator, right? Does he
Mhm.
have like some kind of do they get some kind of karmic reaction, because of that?
No, you won't get any karmic reaction for that. Why would you get a karmic reaction if it's their own karma, right? They have to figure out what they want to do. It's not for you. You forgive them from the bottom of your heart. You forgot what they did, and you just overcome it. You're back to your friendship as it was. But if they
But
can't do it, that's for
apparently, like you are the one who caused that guiltness in that other person, right? Apparently. So,
no. You don't get karma for that.
oh,
It's not that. And importantly, Krishna is sitting within your heart. He sees what you are doing. So all this karmic cycle is created by Krishna. And if he sees that it's not coming from your heart, why would he make you accountable for that karma? No, it doesn't happen that way, Prabhu. No.
okay.
But then yes, uh, forgiveness should come with trust. There has to be trust that okay, I forgive this person, I accept this person back to where he was, right? So yeah, so that's something important also to keep in mind. Right? Like for example, in Shastra, there is a story of Vidura and Dhritarashtra, right? They both were brothers, and Vidura was kicked out of the what do you call that? The palace, the kingdom. The Duryodhana said, "Get lost. You're favoring the Pandavas, right?" And Vidura returned when he came back and he forgave Dhritarashtra, right? So, but then he was very also careful that he didn't let Dhritarashtra forget everything. Oh yeah, let me forget everything. You can do whatever nonsense you were doing earlier. So that forgiveness, when it comes, if it comes with that trust, and you have that trust that this person is not going to break your trust again, you have that faith, then your part is clean. You don't have to worry about it. So it's the other person's problem if he or she is not able to give up that guilt. No karma on your part.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So yes. So that was uh, yeah. So yeah, that was sorry, I missed the train. Yeah. So that was the Dati Pratiganati, Kuyama Khyati Pachit. And Prabhupada in here, Prabhupada, he's talking about let me show. There was one thing that I wanted to bring up. And Prabhupada is talking about, so all the points I just showed you on that slide, they are here in Prabhupada's purport. But there was one thing that I wanted to bring out that Prabhupada is talking about. Where is that? Here. Uh, Contributing or distributing the holy name of the Lord is a sublime example of contributing or giving charity, the Dadati principle, right? So when we go out on the street and we are chanting, or even at the temple when people come and see it, it's also Dadati, it's also giving. That's an important aspect also. Okay. I was looking for something. Okay, I can't find it. There was one place where Prabhupada talks about chanting here. Okay, so uh, that's also in one way, right? So chanting is the greatest thing we can do together. So when we do Krishna Katha when we meet other devotees. So that's also the dati. That's also giving and taking, right? And then that's how ISKCON is doing this is fulfilling this principle. And I talked about the Prabhupada talks about the charity of this the holy name, but charity in general is also good. So it's not just the dati is also charity, right? So yes, we give to devotees also. Uh, and Prabhupada has mentioned that when we give for Krishna conscious means, for example, when you give for cooking or organizing outreach programs, you DT activities at home, you invite devotees at your house, you spend in yatras, you go to trips to India, you go to Vrindavan, Mayapur, and so forth. So that all is also included in charity. That's also part of charity, giving charity to the temple. We all should give a fixed amount to Krishna in charity, going to the temple or helping in temple services and so forth. So make an amount. Many devotees they do 10%, even more than 10% of our earnings. They do that, right? Uh, His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj, his father had taken up a dealership, a car dealership. I forgot which model was that. It was a model that his, but then that model didn't work at all. Right? It just flopped miserably. But Maharaj's mother was still giving charity whatever extra was there. That's a very beautiful thing. Even in adversity, people would not give up doing charity. That's how valued charity is in our lives. It opens up our heart because we want to hold on everything to ourselves. But when you voluntarily give things away, that opens up your heart. See, I'm still alive. I gave away something that I thought was very dear to me. Like money is the most dear to all of us, right? So, but then when we give that away, we see that, oh no, there's nothing wrong with it. My heart is still there. There is a story of Sindhu Tai, right? You might have heard. I think it's in Maharaj Radhanath, His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj's book, the second book. There's a story. She would beg in the trains, and if anything extra, she would feed other beggars. So don't do charity. Krishna talks about charity in the 17th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Don't do charity to gain something in return. That's charity in a mode of ignorance and passion. Just do charity because it's dharma. It's meant to be done for our own upliftment. Then charity is very good. So go ahead, get a financial advisor, figure out your retirement plans, and keep an amount of charity in there. And all the top billionaires do charity. In 2020, when COVID hit, the total charity given was close to $500 billion in US alone. And out of that, the top $25 billion gave a major chunk of that. Because they know that when they give out, it's some way or the other, it helps them also grow. So you have to understand that's the value of giving charity. Right? So, and that also helps them become more detached. All of them, you talk about these big billionaires, Mark Zuckerberg or Warren Buffett, or Bill Gates, they all do a lot of charity because it helps them feel good for sure. Because what happens when you give something in charity, it's scientifically proven that it excites the same pleasure centers in your mind which get excited when you see a loved one or you eat your favorite food or you receive some love-filled gifts. It excites the same parts of your brain. So that's why charity not just helps you physically, emotionally, but also spiritually. But however, it has to be done in the right mood. Krishna talks about this in the third chapter also of Bhagavad Gita. You should give in return, It's not just that I'll take everything for myself. Don't do that. One of Prabhupada's disciples, his was Yamuna Mataji, she was a cook for Prabhupada. She was personally trained by Prabhupada in cooking services. After a few years, Prabhupada asked her, why is only she cooking? Why are the other devotees not cooking? But she said, Prabhupada, only I know how to cook for you. So I don't know, what do you mean? So Prabhupada said, you should train others also. When she asked that, why should I train others, Prabhupada? Prabhupada said, if you don't give knowledge, when you don't spread your knowledge to others, you will develop envy and pride. So that's the spiritual aspect. Understand that. When you just keep everything for yourself, you don't share with others, you'll develop envy and pride. Right? So you have to constantly engage yourself in some charity, in some service, some engagement. Right? So obviously figure out the details with your mentors, with your spiritual master, if need be, if you want to understand where to donate, where not to donate. So, and we have a lot of examples in Shastras. King Yudhishthir, he was exiled out of his kingdom, as we all know, for 14 years. But he had made arrangement for 60,000 brahmacharis, whom he was taking care of, whom he was maintaining. So even though he was exiled, he took care of them. Vasudev, when Krishna was born in the jail, he didn't have anything to offer to Brahmanas. He gave charity in his mind. And then later on, when he was actually free, he gave it in reality. So, yeah. So that's the giving part. Any thoughts, comments here?
Sorry, Prabhu, I didn't follow that when you said last, like a Krishna gave the charity.
Not Krishna, Krishna's father, Vasudev, not Vasudev, Vasudev. Vasudev was in jail, Vasudev and Devaki, and Krishna was born. Vasudev was very happy, and he mentally donated a lot of cows to Brahmanas, but he couldn't do it in reality.
In Mathura,
He,
Gokul.
he was in jail in Mathura, right? So yeah. So mentally he donated cow and he gave charity. And when he was released from the jail, he actually gave that charity. So charity should never be stopped. There are no excuses for not doing charity. And importantly, because charity helps us increase spiritually.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now, having said these, can you think of some challenges in facing these 6 items? Everybody has some challenges. So can somebody think of something? What challenges can you think of in doing these 6 items? Offering food, offering gifts, taking gifts, and then confidentially opening your heart to some devotees, and also hearing from those devotees. Yes, Gandharvika.
I think giving gift and receiving gift is the easiest part.
Yeah.
Because it's buying stuff, even if it's a wrong gift, it's easy to buy and give from your heart too. But then opening your heart at the right time and the right person, that's very tricky. Sometimes you go to Sadhu Sangha, you meet a lot of devotees, you get connection, Krishna arranges that, that's beautiful. But sometimes, even if you go to temple for many years, every Sunday, you just don't find the right connection,
I know, yeah, that always happens.
Yeah, and then offering and prasadam, receiving prasadam, it's easy at the temple, but in your house level, that's also could be challenging if you live with a spouse who is not a devotee, or yeah.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, those are some common things. Yes. Yes, there are some hands raised. Please share. Whoever, let me see on my Purnamasi Devidasi. Can you please
Yeah.
go ahead?
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, just from my personal experience, I've seen, Prabhu, like it depends, the giver and the receiver also at the wavelengths they are at. If, for example, I have a gallon of milk and what they have is a small katora, and if you just drop all that kindness into them, it will just overflow and ruin their dress, and they are more angry at you, but they are not in the receiving end of taking that also. So I think that, and also whatever their past trauma they have gone through, because I personally experienced wherein I used to drop prashadam to this Mataji who's been struggling and single and all alone taking care. And I was shocked one day with all the things that she had, misunderstanding. She's saying, oh, you're coming to drop prashadam because you want to investigate who's coming and going in her house. So I'm so shocked with that statement. So this has happened to me personally. So it's kind of made me rethink, how we need to kind of work with these, people who go through certain traumas and their thing, how they are even responsive to that kindness, that we try to shower.
That's a very good point you bring out. Yes, what if the other devotee that you're working with or you're opening your heart to is that the right person, or is that person accepting or not, is also to be cautious about that. Yeah, thank you. Who else was hand? Who's that? Pratyush Prabhu's hand is up. Pratyush, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much, Prabhuji. These are very nice etiquettes, right? I'll say the devotee etiquettes, right? Receiving gifts, how we should behave with others. Then I find the charitable part, I do understand the importance, but deep in my heart, I sometimes feel I might be it is because of my past attitude about money, right? I feel like I should save more, and then it takes a lot of effort to bring or do the charity, and later I'll think it's for good, but I have to make myself understand. It's very hard for me.
And yes, Prabhu, you have to be cautious. It's not like charity means that you give everything and you're not doing it for yourself. No, charity means that you are giving something once you have taken care of your personal needs. Bhagavad Gita or Shastras are not saying that don't take care of your needs and just give away everything. No, that's not it. But yes, if it's just your mind and heart trying to fool you into believing that, oh no, we don't have to give, we need this, we need that, yeah, then you have to understand, right? So uh, that's something to keep in mind. Yeah, that's a good point. That our mind can fool us many times in saying that, oh, this is not charity, or don't want to do this because I need to save this money. So that's why you should consciously do it and keep looking at it. Okay, I did this, nothing happened wrong, I'm still alive. So then you can expand on it. So that's step by step expansion can happen.
Thank you so much.
And more importantly, don't just look at charity as an activity. Focus on the inner spirit also behind it. That's very important also. If you just look at charity as an activity and not see the heart in it, then the problem will continue. So regular charity, irrespective of whatever you are giving, helps us take steady steps towards selflessness. Right? So you're cultivating a mentality to give in service of Krishna. Right? So then that all lies beyond the pain of losing our hard-earned money and even the pleasure of being glorified. It takes us all beyond that and takes us to the spiritual joy of selfless love. So keep that the inner spirit also in focus. Yes, I just want to add that. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yes, Julan Yatra, you have your hand up.
Yes. I think one of the issues that I face is while receiving gifts, and it's the gift I usually, like when I receive the gift, the first thing that comes to my mind is that I hope it's not very expensive, because then I feel very guilty of receiving expensive presents from my devotee friends.
Yes, and in that also, as I mentioned, you have to see the feeling behind it. Like, for example, devotees are at different levels. As some of them might be billionaires. I know devotees who are very rich and they're very kind-hearted, they're very soft-hearted. So they might bring something costly for me. And I should see the feeling behind it. That's the more important part. And yeah, I can understand that can be a bit of like a stress on our mind that, oh my God, it's such a costly gift. Will I have to give something costly in return? So you can, but if you see the feeling behind it, then it won't pressurize you that much.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, who is next? And whenever I open up the window to see hands raised, I don't know, my screen goes black. Sandeep Mehta Prabhu. Yes, please go ahead, Sandeep.
Oh, yeah, this is like what you had said earlier, that one has to be very, very honest, to others and also to oneself. Because to me, I think the biggest challenge that I feel sometimes is like in different roles, like, being a father, being in the job, then, with other people. And, so revealing a heart is not that easy because, if you are used to a certain kind of a role, if I'm used to a certain kind of a role, to reveal the heart means that I'm going out of my way, and it's a fake mask basically that I have built around me, which I find very challenging to remove sometimes.
So the fake mask. So I didn't get it. What is that face? That fake mask that you have? What is that? Sorry, Prabhu, I didn't get that.
So honesty, probably, like revealing the heart means like complete honesty, right? And not having like multiple kind of basically being very honest to oneself and to other people also, right?
Yeah.
But and I think one of the points you mentioned is that that what's the most challenging part in this, and to me revealing the heart means that, okay, I don't know how to convey this thing, but basically being honest in all situations, not in like selective situations.
Yes, I can understand that. I have been through
How
that.
one is perceived, actually, Prabir. This is what I mean
Yes.
to say. How somebody else perceives you based on the role you are in. Yeah.
And don't fall to the trap. That's one big challenge we all have in following these is that we are doing impression management. What that means is we want to present ourselves as best, or see my good, don't see my bad. But that partial impression management doesn't work, right? Because you see, we all have three lives at three levels: public life, private life, and the secret life. Public life, is what people see me as, right? And then private life is what my family sees me as. But then the secret life, is what I know about it. As much as you can, try to make all these three lives synonymous. Don't try to be on these three platforms. I'm not saying you'll do that tomorrow morning. You can start with whatever little you want to, even if it's like an inch or an ounce, but start with something. And you will see that you can grow on that. You'll keep growing. Okay, you'll see that, oh, I opened up my heart to this person and I really felt good. And then, okay, that will give you some confidence in that person. Then you can do some more expansion and explain more. So build slowly, build organically. Don't just go and open your heart in one go to somebody and then you feel, oh my God, now I feel miserable or something. Don't do that. Oh, I said all my bad things to that person. You open up slowly and steadily. That's helpful also. Helped me a bit. Helped me a lot when I was early on when I started. It helped me a lot too. Okay.
Thank you, Prabhuji. That was a great articulation there.
Yes. Yeah, because we all are fearful in showing our lives. And it's not that you are duplicitous. Don't think yourself that you're doing duplicit or something wrong. You're just afraid that when they see the true me, are they still going to like me? Right? But then you have to constantly remind yourself that Krishna likes you, whichever way you are. I just showed you that verse 11, 20, 27, 28. Krishna is saying, I know you are going to fall down. You know what is right, but still you can't do it. I understand that, but still you are my devotee. I love you. So if Krishna is ready to love me for my faults, why can't I love myself for my faults? I don't have to prove to anybody. It's not like you have to be somebody. You already are somebody. So don't be always in that fear that how are people going to see me? That can be very limiting for your life. Understand that Krishna loves you in whatever way you are, and you are being sincere and consistent. Yes, I have faults. Everybody has faults, and that's okay. That's okay. Don't be afraid of those things. That's what my thought is from. Okay, did I cover everybody? Did I miss anybody? Anybody else? Yes, Sangeeta, please go ahead. I don't hear you.
Hare Krishna,
Yes,
Prabhu.
now I hear
Yes.
you. Yes, please.
So about this offering of prasadam, right? So we might be, or the devotee might be very enthusiastic and happy to offer the prasadam, but the person on the other side, they might kind of reject, as the same story that you were mentioning, right? So those kind of challenges, it is, it's very difficult initial, but how to tackle those, because once I remember I took, I went to Vrindavan and got the prasad and I was offering to all my colleague, and the one person right away said, "No, I don't." So you get a kind of a setback, like, okay, I'm trying to do good, but the person on the other side is not ready to accept.
Yeah. So the challenge there is, Nachit, I have faced it many times in my life, is that I'm going with an expectation there. I have an expectation that this person is going to take prasadam from me and he's going to get purified. Your offering should be unconditional.
You got it.
Many times what I do is, sometimes I cook something at home, like some modern things, cookies or something, and I take it to my workplace and I offer to my deities. I take it to workplace sometimes, and I give it to them. Not everybody is going to come and eat it. Many of them don't even like the taste of what I cook, probably. Sometimes I I bring sweets from India and I take them and give it to some friend of mine. They might or might not like it, but that's not my problem. I did something. I'm not going to have any expectations, because expectations, they put us off. That, oh, no reciprocation, that I'm going to cut myself off from this person. But that's not it. Whatever you are doing, that giving part, that offering part, is because you want it will go to help you purify. Always do everything with that mindset. This is for my purification. When you see this universe as a university, that there is something for me to learn from everything, nothing will bother you anymore. I know it's a very big thought, but then we can please try a little bit there.
Prabhu, we're not hearing you.
Okay, yeah, I got
You-
it. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Was
Yeah,
I
I can hear
audible?
you, Prabhuji.
Oh, you could hear me.
Yes,
You could
yes.
hear me the whole way. Okay. Oh, Vidyamati, something at your end probably. Others were able
Yeah,
to hear me.
Prabhu. Yeah, I wasn't hearing you at all. Sorry.
Oh, okay, might be at something at your end. Okay. Yes. So that's a very important point you brought up, Madhuri. Don't be unconditional. When we start to have expectations, then the expectations are coming because I was thinking that I am doing something. We all are instruments. We all should be very happy that we are instruments in Krishna's mercy, in Krishna's mission. That's all my role is. I am a foot soldier. I'm not a general in the army. I'm not one of those who rides on the horses or the elephants. No, no. I am a foot soldier. So I cannot have expectations. I'm the lowest in the rung of the ladder. So that's the attitude we all go with. And then if you go out for book distribution, 90% of the people will reject you. Only 10% will accept it. But we never get offended. We never get disheartened. We are doing it as service. If Krishna wants to send somebody, okay. If Krishna doesn't want to send somebody, still okay. My points are counted. Krishna has counted my points in his book. He says, okay, Prem Dham today went out for book distribution. He put a tick mark there. Whatever the outcome, who cares? I don't care about. Well, we should not care about that. That's what I mean.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay. I think what's the time? It's 8:30. Okay. So yes, I think this is the verse where we wrap it up. Yes. So these are some challenges we all face, right? And I think we've nicely brought it out. Don't expect, right? Fear of there's always that. Don't be conditional, right? Uh, then don't make it seasonal. Keep on doing it regularly to whatever capacity you can. I'm not asking you to do extraordinary, but do it regularly. That's always helpful also. And also be aware, be conscious and aware of the needs, your immediate needs, the temple needs, the society needs. And like Pratyush Prabhu was just bringing out that point that, oh, my heart thinks, oh, should I give this, or I need this for my family. So know your immediate needs. Be consciously aware of your immediate needs. Then be consciously aware of the temple's need. Oh, okay, what is the temple investing the money? Where does it go? Okay, see, I see. Oh my God, they're building a dome for the temple. Okay, or they are going to send books to tribal area in India. So you see that, and then do that. So understand the needs, and then accordingly plan your charity. Okay, I'll pause here, and if anybody has any last minute thoughts, I know we are right on dot. I can take a minute or two, but I think my part is completed.